Welcome to today's Lost Souls, where we bring you the most impactful and unforgettable stories from around the world. Today, we remember the lives of remarkable individuals whose legacies continue to inspire and resonate. From iconic musicians to trailblazing activists, join us as we celebrate their extraordinary contributions and bid farewell to those who have left an indelible mark on our lives. Stay tuned for a journey through their incredible stories.
Bergman. Alan Bergman, the legendary Oscar, Emmy, and Grammy-winning lyricist whose words became the soundtrack to countless classic films and television shows, died peacefully at his home in Los Angeles on July 17, 2025. His passing marks the end of an era for American songwriting, capping a career that, alongside his wife and creative partner Marilyn Bergman, elevated the art of the lyric to poetic new heights. Born in Brooklyn in 1925, Bergman developed a love for language and music early in life, eventually meeting fellow lyricist Marilyn Katz, later Marilyn Bergman, through composer Lou Spence. The two married in 1958 and together formed one of the most successful songwriting partnerships in American popular music. Remaining collaborators until Marilyn's death in 2022, their very first meeting saw them co-write a song, an omen of nearly 65 years of creative synergy. The Bergman's lyrics, set to music by masters such as Michel Legrand, Marvin Hamlisch, Quincy Jones, and John Williams, helped craft some of the most beloved songs across genres. They won 3 Academy Awards, first for The Windmills of Your Mind from the Thomas Crown Affair, 1969, with Legrand, then for The Way We Were from the eponymous 1973 film with Hamlisch, and finally for the score of Yentl, 1983, also with Legrand and starring Barbra Streisand, whose performances became inseparable from the couple's evocative lyrics. Their work stretched far beyond the silver screen. The Bergmans wrote theme songs for hit television comedies of the 1970s mod Good Times, and Alice, embedding their uniquely American blend of Tin Pan Alley sentiment and modern pop in the hearts of millions. Singer after singer, from Frank Sinatra and Dean Martin to Michael Jackson, Tony Bennett, Sting, and especially Barbra Streisand, found in their words a rare emotional clarity. Alan and Marilyn Bergman were inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame in 1980, and their trophy case would ultimately include 3 Oscars, 4 Emmys, and 2 Grammys, reflecting a body of work that stood as the gold standard for popular songwriting. Their influence reached generations. Eston even recorded a 2011 album. What matters most? Barbra Streisand sings the lyrics of Alan and Marilyn Bergman, devoted entirely to their songs. Alan Bergman remained devoted to his craft to the very end, continuing to write despite respiratory problems in his last months. His death, with his daughter Julie at his side, closes the book on a life dedicated to capturing the heartfelt complexities of love, loss, memory, and hope in song. Connie Francis, one of the most celebrated female vocalists of the late 1950s and early 1960s, passed away on July 16, 2025. Following complications related to a pelvic fracture and pneumonia while hospitalized in Florida, the announcement was made by Ron Roberts, president of her record label, who expressed deep sorrow and shared that Francis would have wanted her fans to be among the first to know of her passing. Born Concetta Rosa Maria Franconero on December 12, 1937, in Newark, New Jersey, Francis rose to international stardom with hits like Who's Sorry Now and Stupid Cupid. She was the first woman to reach No. 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart with Everybody's Somebody's Fool in 1960 and sold over 40 million records before turning 25, establishing herself as a pop music icon of her generation. Her 1962 song, Pretty Little Baby, recently went viral on TikTok, attracting millions of new fans, including celebrities. And introducing her music to a younger audience shortly before her death, Francis's career was marked by both immense success and personal tragedy. In 1974, she survived a violent assault that profoundly affected her mental health, leading to misdiagnoses and hospitalizations for what was later understood to be post-traumatic stress disorder. Additionally, the murder of her brother in 1981 forced her to face significant family responsibilities and fueled her resilience. Despite these hardships, she continued recording, performing, and publishing her autobiography, Who's Sorry Now, which became a bestseller in early 2025. Francis suffered a pelvic fracture that left her wheelchair-bound and undergoing stem cell therapy. She was admitted to the hospital with severe pain before contracting pneumonia, which led to her passing. Connie Francis's enduring legacy lies in her trailblazing role as a female pop star. Her vast catalog of timeless songs and her courage in overcoming adversity. Her music continues to resonate across generations, and her recent viral resurgence ensured that her voice remains alive in contemporary culture. Leslie Charleson, a revered figure in daytime television and best known for her iconic role as cardiologist Monica Quartermaine on ABC's General Hospital, passed away on January 12, 2025, after a long illness. Her nearly 50-year tenure on the show made her one of the longest-serving cast members of what is the longest scripted drama in the United States. Charleson's portrayal of Monica, the heart of the Quartermaine family, earned her widespread acclaim and for Daytime Emmy nominations, cementing her legacy as a daytime legend. Born in 1945 in Kansas City, Missouri, Charleson began her career early, even appearing in a car commercial with her mother at a young age. With growing ambitions, she carved a path through numerous television dramas during the 1960s and 1970s, including Flame in the Wind, As the World Turns, and Love is a Many-Splendored Thing. In 1977, she took on the role of Monica Quartermaine, a character she would embody with nuance, warmth, and strength for nearly 5 decades. Executive producer Frank Valentini praised Charleson as a beloved matriarch of the entire cast and crew, highlighting her quick wit, remarkable presence on set, and the personal friendships she fostered. Behind the scenes, he recalled their daily conversations and her enduring influence long past the stage. Viewers witnessed her character endure some of daytime television's most memorable storylines, ranging from complex medical crises to deeply emotional family drama. With Charleson's performances anchoring those narratives, her passing was announced on General Hospital's official Instagram account, triggering a wave of tributes from fans and colleagues alike who admired not only her artistic talents, but also her warmth and generosity. Off-camera, NPR and other media outlets celebrated her rare longevity and significant impact on the soap opera genre, noting that she helped define the role of women in daytime TV storytelling. Leslie Charleson's career represents a remarkable chapter in American television history, both for its duration and for the depth of character she brought to her role. She was more than an actress. She was a cherished presence who embodied resilience, compassion, and professionalism for generations of viewers. Emre Tiaran is a Turkish actor born on March 11, 1972, in Istanbul, Turkey. Over a distinguished career spanning more than 2 decades, Tiaran has become a notable figure in Turkish film and television. Earning recognition for his versatile roles and consistent performances, he is known for appearances in popular TV series such as Waiting for the Sun, 2013, Ber Zamanla Kıbrıs, Once Upon a Time in Cyprus, 2021, and the crime drama Sovchi, 2014, where he played the role of Sovchi over 13 episodes. He also lent his voice to various projects and acted in films including Eskiya and İyi Aşı. Tiaran's career reflects his range and adaptability, with roles spanning different genres from historical dramas to modern crime series. His work in Waiting for the Sun and Once Upon a Time in Cyprus contributed to his stature in Turkish television, allowing him to reach audiences both domestically and abroad. Notably, he appeared in Teskalatay Masusa, Trablus 2023, and Testament, The Story of Moses 2024, further highlighting his ongoing presence in the acting world. In addition to his acting career, Tiaran has taken on leadership roles outside of the arts. Since 2017, he has been the CEO of Alpha Group companies, overseeing production and development of innovative food products across multiple countries, including Turkey, Cyprus, Russia, Hungary, and the UAE. His work involves managing international sales, product development, and operations in the fitness and health supplement sectors. Additionally, he held a managerial position at Pedruski Medical Center in the UAE between 2023 and 2024. Emra Trn continues to be an active and influential figure in both entertainment and business, demonstrating a dynamic career that bridges creativity and leadership. There are no records of his passing, and he remains an accomplished professional contributing to his fields. Saul Elkin, a towering figure in Buffalo's theater community and founder of the beloved Shakespeare in Delaware Park, died on July 14, 2025. His profound contributions to the arts in Western New York span over 5 decades, during which he nurtured and championed free, high-quality Shakespearean theater performances, making classical works accessible to thousands. Elkin's influence also extended into academia as a distinguished professor and former chair of the university at Buffalo's theater department, shaping generations of actors and theater practitioners. Born in 1932 in New York City to Jewish immigrant parents from Russia and Romania, Elkin grew up speaking both Yiddish and English. His passion for theater began early. At just 7 years old, he performed as the lead in a play by Morris Schwartz, founder of the Yiddish Art Theater. This early exposure set the stage for a lifelong dedication to acting, directing, and teaching. Elkin's formal education was extensive. He earned a BA and MFA from Columbia University and a PhD from Carnegie Mellon University, further grounding his work in both practice and scholarship. In 1969, Elkin moved to Buffalo, where he became a professor and quickly rose to chair the theater department at the PTO department at the University at Buffalo from 1971 to 1985. Inspired by his mentor, Joe Paptha, founder of New York City's Shakespeare in the Park, founded Shakespeare in Delaware Park in 1975. What started as a modest production next to Hoyt Lake grew into a revered summer tradition known affectionately as Shakespeare Hill, drawing diverse audiences to free outdoor performances of Shakespeare's comedies and tragedies. The stage in Delaware Park was later named in his honor, underscoring his lasting impact. Elkin was also a founder of Buffalo's Jewish Repertory Theater, co-creating a platform for thought-provoking and culturally significant productions. His career spanned over 250 credited acting and directing roles across regional theaters, television, including the soap opera, The Edge of Night, and film. Throughout his career, he demonstrated a commitment to community, education, and the arts that earned him widespread respect. In 2021, he received the Ralph L. Kushner Community Service Award from the Jewish Community Center of Greater Buffalo. Recognizing his remarkable contributions, even in his final years, Elkin remained engaged with theater and academia, though his health declined in 2025, preventing him from attending the production of Twelfth Night in which his daughter Rebecca performed. His legacy continued to inspire colleagues, students, and audiences alike. Elkin is survived by his wife, Janine, and 4 children, several of whom have pursued artistic and educational careers, continuing his legacy of creativity and service. His passing marks a significant loss to the cultural fabric of Buffalo and to American regional theater. Through his vision, passion, and dedication, Saul Elkin transformed Shakespeare from high art into a communal experience that will endure for generations.
Henry Franklin Winkler. Henry Franklin Winkler was born on October 30, 1945, on the west side of Manhattan, to Harry and Ilsa Winkler. Escape endowed the household with a quiet sense of gratitude, yet also with the unspoken expectation that success in America must justify the risk taken to get there. Harry, a stern lumber import executive, envisioned his only son following him into the family business. Elsa, refined and artistic, nurtured Henry's more imaginative leanings, but still stressed order and discipline. From his earliest memories, Henry felt like a square peg in a world of round holes. At PS in '87, and later the elite McBurney School, Henry's classmates sped through textbooks while he labored over single paragraphs, letters slipping from their lines like mischievous dancers. Report cards became battlegrounds at the dinner table, where disappointment loomed larger than the tiny Manhattan kitchen itself, compounding matters. He was short, shy, and awkward, hardly the cool image he would one day project to the world. Yet amid the frustration, a spark glowed. Performing. Whenever the class staged a play,
Henry's fear evaporated the instant he stepped on stage. Suddenly, words made sense. His body found rhythm, and the audience's laughter felt like oxygen. That jolt of approval offered something the classroom never could. A declaration that he wasn't broken, merely wired for a different arena as a teenager. From summer camp reviews and the Catskills to after-school drama clubs, the louder his father pushed business spreadsheets across the dinner table, the more firmly Henry clutched his dog-eared copies of Hamlet and Guys and Dolls. By senior year, he mustered the courage to tell his parents he would pursue acting. A revelation met with disbelief and a thunderous ultimatum. You have 1 year to make something of yourself. Acceptance to Emerson College in Boston proved his first small victory. There, surrounded by other dreamers, he felt for the first time that his creative instincts were not liabilities, but superpowers waiting to be refined. Emerson's emphasis on improvisation became Henry's secret weapon against dyslexia. On stage, he could bypass the printed page, internalize a scene through practice, and let instinct guide him. Professors noted his uncanny ability to transform awkwardness into comic timing, and soon he was cast in nearly every student production. Still, he sensed he needed deeper training to turn raw passion into a viable career. A fateful audition earned him a spot at the Yale School of Drama. In 1967, launching him into an environment equal parts exhilarating and intimidating. There he dissected Chekhov, wrestled Shakespeare, and collaborated with future luminaries, slowly chiseling away the self-doubt that had shadowed him since childhood. By the time he graduated with his MFA in 1970, Henry Winkler had evolved from a dyslexic boy terrified of report cards into a confident young actor armed with classical technique and a relentless work ethic. He returned to New York City penniless but determined, hustling between off-Broadway auditions, voiceover gigs, articulate a single syllable, and catapult himself into pop culture immortality. Stepping off the Yale commencement stage in 1970, Winkler's cinematic ambitions collided head-on with New York's ruthlessly competitive audition circuit. His first significant screen appearance came in the modest 1974 coming-of-age drama, The Lords of Flatbush, where he played the genial Butchie Weinstein opposite, then unknown, Sylvester Stallone. Though released on a shoestring budget, the film became a cult favorite. Him as Arthur Fonzie Fonarelli. Yet, even as the FS rocketed to television superstardom, Henry kept one eye fixed on the silver screen, determined not to let a single iconic role forever define him. Hollywood noticed in 1977 he headlined Heroes, portraying a Vietnam veteran grappling with PTSD decades before mainstream cinema routinely tackled such themes. The road trip narrative paired him with Sally Field and was lauded for its humanity, earning Winkler a Golden Globe nomination and proving he could carry a dramatic feature on the strength of nuance rather than catchphrases. A year later, he slipped into flamboyant wrestling tights for the one and only casting. Every broad comedic gesture counterbalanced by glimmers of authentic longing. By the early 80s, he reunited with former Happy Days co-star Ron Howard. This time under Howard's directorial debut, Night Shift 1982, playing Milquetoast Morgue attendant Chuck Lumley. Winkler orchestrated comedic chaos alongside Michael Keaton in a screenplay that transformed the phrase "love broker" into a punchline. For the ages, the film's box office success validated his transition into leading man status and cemented a lifelong friendship with Howard. That camaraderie later blossomed into behind-the-camera aspirations. Henry co-founded Winkler Rich Productions, shepherding TV movies and the beloved family series MacGyver. Directing eventually beckoned, and in 1993, he helmed Cop and a Half, guiding Burt Reynolds through a kid buddy caper that, while critically tepid, demonstrated Winkler's patience and good humor on set qualities that kept studios returning with work. The mid-90s ushered in a renaissance of surprise cameos and scene stealing. Supporting roles, 1996, where the once invincible Fonz met a slasher's blade. Slightly acknowledging the mortality of past personas, 2 years later, Adam Sandler cast him as the perpetually flustered Coach Clean in The Waterboy. Into the 2000s, with Holes 2003 and Click 2006, each performance, a masterclass in supporting role generosity, ensuring the story's heartbeat louder than any individual line delivery. Voice work followed most notably as the Shark Mobsters, neurotic conciliar in DreamWorks. Shark Tale, proving that even unseen, Winkler's vocal warmth could anchor an ensemble. Through 5 decades on film, he has sidestepped Hollywood's centrifugal force fields, refusing to orbit a single archetype. Whether embodying earnest veterans, meek morticians, or eccentric coaches, Henry Winkler's filmography functions like a mosaic, each tile a testament to resilience, range, and the conviction that laughter and empathy are 2 halves of the same cinematic coin. From the outside, Henry Winkler's career looked like an unbroken string of smiles, but privately, his greatest antagonist was an invisible one: dyslexia. Well into adulthood, he still reversed letters, stumbled over card dialogue, and dreaded any table read that hadn't been The breakthrough came in 1978, when his 7-year-old stepson, Jed, also struggled with reading. Testing confirmed Yet's dyslexia and, by extension, illuminated. Finally, the fog of laziness and stupidity evaporated, replaced by a clinical explanation and practical strategies. Winkler embraced colored overlays to steady printed lines, worked with tutors to map scripts into visual storyboards, and learned to record dialogue on cassettes so he could rehearse auditorially while driving across Los Angeles. Far from sidelining his career, these tools liberated him, and within a decade, he would turn his journey into the best-selling Hank Zyper children's series, ensuring struggling readers everywhere found a hero in their own reflection. Physical wear and tear also accompanied decades on set. Multiple seasons of leaping over jukeboxes left his lower back in knots. Spine surgery offered relief, but required months of grueling physiotherapy. Winkler tackled the regimen with the same upbeat discipline he once reserved for rehearsal halls, integrating Pilates, pool therapy, and daily stretching until sciatica finally loosened its grip. Arthritic twinges in his right knee, souvenir of countless promotional tours, are managed today with low-impact swimming and electric bike rides through the Hollywood Hills at dawn. He jokes that the bike's silent motor is Fonz's new motorcycle, cooler because it's kind to the planet. Mental health advocacy became another cornerstone of his later years. Early fame brought waves of imposter syndrome that he masked behind Fonz's swagger. But night after night of non-ruined public adoration chipped away at his self-esteem. Discovered on the set of MacGyver, evolved into a lifelong practice. Henry credits 10 minutes of breathwork each morning with sharpening his comedic timing and calming his nerves. Before live appearances, the pandemic era posed fresh challenges. Isolation threatened his normally extroverted spirit, and the abrupt halt of filming schedules risked derailing routines that kept his body nimble. Winkler pivoted by converting his garage into a makeshift fitness studio equipped with resistance bands, a rowing machine, and a laptop for virtual Pilates. Sessions. Livestream Q&A events replaced convention stages, allowing him to connect with fans while spreading messages about dyslexia, awareness, and the importance of vaccinations. He even filmed public service spots urging older adults to stay current on flu and shingles shots. Today, Henry Winkler embodies holistic resilience. Annual physicals track cholesterol and prostate markers, a pescatarian-leaning diet, plus the occasional guilt-free pastrami sandwich. Balance enjoyment with longevity and bi-weekly voice sessions. Preserve the timbre that once echoed across 1970s living rooms. In interviews, he likes to summarize his wellness philosophy with 3 words: move, laugh, repeat. The simplest prescription for a life that has consistently turned obstacles into opportunities. Even the brightest comedy mask hides shadows cast by loss, and Henry Winkler's journey is no exception. The first blow landed in 1994 when his mother, Ilsa, who had so lovingly buffered his creative impulses against his father's rigid pragmatism, succumbed to heart failure at age 8. Henry was in the midst of producing sightings for television. He flew from Los Angeles to New York overnight, held her hand in the ICU, and whispered thanks for every bedtime story she had ever translated from German to English. Her passing crystallized for Henry the urgency of heritage. He began recording family anecdotes on cassette, ensuring the next generations would understand how courage and fear often travel in the same suitcase. 4 years later,
His father Harry died at 77 after a brief battle with prostate cancer. Their relationship had been marked by decades of friction over career choices. Yet the final weeks softened old tensions. Henry spent evenings reading Shakespeare to the elder Winkler, proving that words once deemed frivolous could carry dignity and comfort. After the funeral, he returned to the MacGyver writer's room and quietly installed a small piece of his father's company ledger on his office wall, a reminder that approval, though delayed, had finally arrived. Collegial losses followed. In 2003, the sudden cardiac arrest of John Ritter, Henry's co-star on Thro's Company guest arcs and dear friend, shook Hollywood's comedic fraternity. Henry delivered a eulogy that alternated between tears and laughter, recalling Ritter's habit of leaving surprise sticky notes on prop tables that read, "Remember to breathe and giggle." 13 years later, Gary Marshall, the maestro, who had cast him as the Fonz, passed away. And Winkler again found himself standing at a lectern, this time describing how Marshall's open-door policy had taught him to lead with kindness on every set he later produced. Each loss reinforced his commitment to mentorship. He vowed that no young actor would feel unseen on his watch, personal heartaches intertwined with career disappointments. In the late 1980s, he invested 2 years developing a Broadway revival that collapsed days before rehearsals. When financing evaporated, leaving cast and crew adrift, Henry absorbed salaries out of pocket, a gesture that stretched his finances thin but spared dozens of freelancers from crisis. The experience schooled him in the fragility of artistic dreams and seeded a habit of quietly contributing to emergency relief funds for entertainment unions. Family health scares amplified empathy. His wife, Stacey Weitzman, battled breast cancer twice, first in 2001, then a recurrence in 2007. Henry became her steadfast chauffeur to radiology appointments and between takes on Arrested Development, reviewed oncology literature until medical jargon resembled stage directions. Stacey's remission deepened their partnership and prompted the couple to co-chair numerous fundraising galas for pediatric cancer research. Believing gratitude must always travel outward. Not all partings were mortal. As the Happy Days cast drifted into separate careers, the once daily camaraderie mutated into annual reunions. Each gathering tinged with nostalgia and the knowledge that time, like reruns, plays in one direction only. Henry keeps a Polaroid from their final day on stage 19 taped to his study lamp. He has said that whenever self-doubt whispers, he looks at that photo and remembers he once changed television simply by believing a shy, dyslexic kid could become America's coolest cultural icon. Loss, then, has been both thief and teacher, stealing voices he cherished while handing him the vocabulary of resilience. Through every farewell, Henry Winkler has refined his understanding that the most valuable currency in life is presence, the willingness to show up, hold a hand, share a laugh, and keep the story moving forward even after the spotlight dims. When the new millennium dawned, some observers assumed Henry Winkler might ease into nostalgic cameos and leisurely retirement. Yet, the actor viewed the turn of the century as an artistic second wind. In 2003, he appeared as abused family attorney Barry Zuccarone on Arrested Development, a role originally slated for 3 episodes that blossomed into a fan favorite, recurring part across the series' cult run. The absurd courtroom antics allowed Winkler to parody his own wholesome image, trading Fonz's swagger for spectacular incompetence. Producers later admitted that his willingness to lampoon himself set the comedic bar for the ensemble, proving self-deprecation can be a superpower when wielded with precision. Simultaneously, children's literature opened an entirely new lane. Teaming with author Lynn Oliver, Winkler launched the Hank Zyper series in 2003, channeling childhood dyslexia into the fictional adventures of the world's greatest underachiever. 40-plus installments, translated into a British TV adaptation to 014 to 2016, where Henry portrayed Mr. Rock, the music teacher every anxious kid wishes they had, earning the British Book Award for Children's Book of the Year and frequent school visit invitations. Winkler discovered that storytelling off-screen could influence young readers' self-worth more profoundly than any sitcom rerun. He estimates having personally high-fived over 35,000 students, each exchange punctuated by a reminder,
Your brain is brilliant, exactly the way it is. Hollywood still beckoned, guest arcs on Royal Pay's 201-012, and voice work in Parks and Recreation showcased his adaptability. But it was HBO's dark dramedy, Barry, 2018-2022, that delivered a career-capping triumph, as Gene Casino, a washed-up acting coach straddling paucity. Winkler fused decades of comedic timing with dramatic gravitas. Critics hailed his performance as a masterclass in tonal balance, culminating in a 2018 Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Supporting Actor. His first competitive win after 6 nominations, receiving the statue, he quipped, "I only wrote this speech 43 years ago." A line equal parts gratitude and testament to perseverance. Off-camera, his philanthropy broadened. Winkler co-founded the Children's Action Network, raising awareness for foster care adoption, partnered with United Friends of the Children, and fronted nationwide campaigns for water safety education alongside his longtime hobby of fly fishing. Environmental stewardship became personal after discovering the therapeutic.com of casting lines on Montana's Gallatin River. He now auctions signed photos of rainbow trout taken with his Leica to benefit conservation trusts. During the 2020 lockdown, he hosted weekly Instagram live story times, reading Hank Zipser chapters aloud to families worldwide, bridging social distance with narrative intimacy. Family remains his anchor. He and Stacy celebrated their 45th anniversary in 2023, marking the occasion with a backyard screening of The Lords of Flatbush for their 3 grandchildren who giggled at Grandpa's vintage pompadour. Son Max directs documentary films. Daughter Zoe runs a boutique public relations firm. Stepson Jed teaches music therapy. Sunday dinners in the Winkler household. Matzo ball soup meets California kale. Theater gossip mingles with toddler squeals. While Henry insists everyone share one thing you learned this week. A tradition nodding to his lifelong crusade for education. Today, at nearly 80, Winkler's calendar still swings between creative projects and advocacy. He voices a wisecracking gremlin in an upcoming animated feature, revises drafts for a new young adult mystery, and embarks on speaking tours where he demonstrates dyslexia-friendly reading strategies to teachers. His 2023 memoir, Being Henry, climbed bestseller lists, blending candor with comedic beats to illustrate how a mislabeled child can rewire destiny through tenacity and kindness. Each morning begins with a 700 a.m. pool session, followed by espresso, script pages, and a quick scroll through fan mail. Proof that cool is not a leather jacket, but the refusal to stop growing. If Henry Winkler's life were charted like a constellation, one star would forever shine brightest. The FS, in 1976. Smithsonian curators requested Fonzie's leather jacket for the National Museum of American History, solidifying an unprecedented leap from sitcom, wardrobe closet, to national artifact. That donation marked the first time an item from a then-running TV series entered the museum's collection, signaling how thoroughly Winkler's cool knuckle tap had imprinted on American identity. Sociologists still cite the Fonzie effect when discussing how marginalized teens gravitate toward aspirational archetypes, proof that a fictional greaser could serve as both mirror and mentor. Yet, Winkler has spent decades ensuring his legacy eclipses one role. Academia embraced him in 2011, when Queen Elizabeth II appointed Henry Ann Honorary Officer of the Order of the British Empire, OBBE, for services to children with special educational needs and dyslexia. Presenting the medal at Buckingham Palace, Prince Charles commended how Winkler turned personal challenge into public good, a phrase now engraved on the plaque outside the British Dyslexia Association headquarters. American universities followed suit. Emerson bestowed an honorary doctorate in 2012 in Yale, invited him to deliver the 2019 commencement address, where he advised graduates to turn fear into fuel, then floor it. Hollywood's own accolades are equally abundant. In 1980, he received a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, carefully positioned near the intersection of Hollywood and North Labra, so fans driving classic convertibles could roll by and snap photos. 3 decades later, he accepted the Television Critics Association Career Achievement Award, lauded for shepherding television from the laugh track era into single-camera sophistication. His Emmy shelf expanded further in 2019 when Barry producer Alec Berg presented Winkler with the show's Peabody Award, acknowledging how the series' moral complexity owed much to Henry's delicate oscillation between mentor and narcissist. Beyond statues and certificates, his influence ripples through mentorship. Generations of actors, Kevin Hart, Maya Rudolph, John Boyega, have credited brief encounters with Winkler as pivotal confidence boosts. He is known to carry custom Ura-10 stickers in his blazer pocket, a nod to Fonz's rating system, handing them to any crew member who solves a problem under pressure. Not Netflix, executives mention that when Henry guest-directed an episode of the teen series Julie and the Phantoms, he arrived early, stayed late, and personally folded boom mic cord so younger staff could leave on time. Kindness, he insists, runs on compound interest. Social media savvy keeps his cultural capital current. On Twitter, E.W. Winkler for real, he peppers timelines with sunrise photographs from his backyard, golden hour light catching bougainvillea blossoms, often captioned with gentle prompts like, "Have you hydrated?" A 2021 tweet praising a fan's homemade Fonz Halloween costume amassed 2.3 million likes, illustrating how even 280 characters of encouragement can electrify global nostalgia. In 2024, he joined TikTok, posting short videos on dyslexia hacks, color-coding grocery lists, dictating emails into phones, each clip punctuated by a victorious thumbs up. The hashtag #UUHanks Helpful Hints quickly crossed 100 million views, transforming a retired sitcom icon into Gen Z's unlikely study coach. Hollywood museums and pop culture retrospectives routinely spotlight his artifacts. The 1977 Golden Globe sits beside night shift call sheets at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures. A soundstage in Paramount's upgraded lot now bears his name, dedicated in 2022 with fellow Happy Days alums in attendance. During the ceremony, Ron Howard remarked, "Henry's gift is making everyone feel like the main character in their own story, even when the camera isn't rolling." Winkler measures success less by trophies than by the letters he receives. A firefighter who conquered dyslexia to ace promotion exams. A grandmother who learned to swim because his fly fishing posts demystified water. A 12-year-old who recited lines from Barry at a school talent show to overcome stage fright. Each envelope lands in a wooden chest marked fuel. Reminders that storytelling at its best jumpstarts human potential. At 79, Henry Winkler still wakes before sunrise, savoring the quiet hum of Los Angeles while most of the city sleeps. He begins each day with a handwritten gratitude list, a therapist-taught exercise that keeps his mind anchored in abundance, rather than nostalgia. By 6:30, he's gliding laps in his backyard pool. Water resistance easing decades of stunt-induced aches. A Bluetooth speaker floats nearby, streaming classic jazz to calibrate his breathing. Afterward, he blends a breakfast smoothie, spinach, blueberries, protein powder, then settles into his book-lined study, where vintage typewriters share shelf space with BAFTA certificates. There he drafts chapters for a forthcoming graphic novel that reimagines dyslexia as a secret decoding power. Every plot point is color-coded on sticky notes, a system he devised in Yale days, proving that old tricks can still fuel new adventures. Late mornings find Henry commuting to Sunset Gower Studios, where he serves as executive producer on Acting Out, a semi-autobiographical dramedy ordered by a major streaming platform. The series follows an aging coach who mentors neurodivergent performers, weaving humor with advocacy. On set, he greets every crew member by name, distributes Ura-10 stickers, and conducts many masterclasses between takes, demonstrating how a simple beat of silence can elevate a punchline. Filming wraps by 3, freeing time for video. Conference sessions with the Dyslexia Foundation's advisory board. His current mission, expanding teacher training grants so rural schools can access the same Mulchinsiri reading tools that transformed his own learning curve. Evenings oscillate. Between family and public engagement, twice a week, Henry hosts Story Couch, a live-streamed fireside chat where he reads viewer-submitted essays and offers gentle edits in real time. The series routinely trends on TikTok, its success due less to production polish than to genuine delight in amplifying other voices. Off-camera nights belong to intimacy. Wednesday, pasta night with Stacy. Friday, backyard movie screenings for the grandchildren. Sunday, FaceTime, calls to college students he mentors through the Creative Coalition. When insomnia strikes, he grabs a Leica Q2, steps onto the patio, and photographs moonlit succulents. Images later sold at charity auctions alongside signed scripts. Looking ahead, he's negotiating a return to Broadway in a revival of Neil Simon's The Sunshine Boys, provided rehearsal schedules respect his annual fly fishing pilgrimage to Montana negotiations. Also include a clause ensuring each theater partner installs dyslexia-friendly signage backstage, continuing his silent revolution of accessibility. Meanwhile, his memoir being Henry set for adaptation into a limited series with Winkler narrating and cameoing as his own grandfather. A made-up flourish he calls the ultimate family reunion. Asked in recent interviews about retirement, Henry smiles and recites his three-part mantra. Learn something new, teach what you learn, then laugh at how much there's still to figure out. He views the calendar not as a countdown, but as a palette. Each project a fresh color applied to an ever-widening canvas. In public appearances, he challenges audiences to redefine cool, not leather jackets or punch-perfect quips, but kindness under pressure, curiosity passed out, and the courage to rewrite your story even after the world thinks it knows the ending. Thus, Henry Winkler's present is not a quiet epilogue, but a lively prologue to yet more chapters, proof that a life founded on empathy, hard work, and the unshakable belief that everyone is a 10 can keep evolving long after the final studio light fades.